Welcome to the channel, SvartPylen. My name is Steph, and I got my baby here summer of 2020. She's my virgin bike, the bike I'm learning how to ride on, and I think she's amazing and want to dedicate this channel to our journey together. I got into motorcycling like a lot of girls do. I thought it was really cool, found a boyfriend who rides to try it out for free, and confirmed that being a passenger was not enough to satisfy me. I took a safety course to learn the basics and reassure my parents. It was a blistering hot weekend, and my first time in full gear, but the heat did nothing to dampen my excitement at learning this new skill. I aced my knowledge test, getting a perfect score. I enjoyed practicing my turns and swerves. At the end of the weekend, we had the practical test, and if I passed, I'd be able to skip the practical portion at the DMV when I'd later get my license. The first test was designed to evaluate our ability to weave between cones. When we had practiced earlier, I had been able to do it pretty successfully in second gear, but shifting gears smoothly has always been a struggle for me, and as I waited for my turn, I was last in line. I wavered on whether I should take the risk. I started the bike okay, but chickened out and tried to do the exercise in first gear. I got into my rhythm and ended up perfectly hitting every cone. I was mortified. Everyone else had done really well on the exercise, and I felt like maybe I'd been too confident. Maybe I wasn't ready. I went into the next test with hyper focus, making the sharpest turns and swerves and stops that I had done all weekend. Still, I wasn't sure it was enough. With bated breath, I waited for my results. And I passed! The safety course wasn't my first time on a bike though. In order to get this cool guy at work to notice me, I asked him for motorcycle lessons. I watched a bunch of videos the night before, hoping to impress him. He had only one rule before we started. Do not drop the bike. His beautiful blue 865cc Bonneville. It was a low expectation, I thought. One I'd easily manage, and it started out great. He showed me the basic controls, and I was managing to balance the bike pretty well, especially when I brought it up to speed. I even made a turn. We had forgotten just one thing, teaching me how to stop. After completing a couple loops, my left hand so very tired from his bike's stiff clutch, he gave the command to stop. Not knowing what to do, I dumped the throttle and the clutch. It all happened in slow motion. The bike stalled, started to tip, and too heavy for me to counterbalance, I fell along with it. After making sure I was okay, he immediately turned to check on his baby. A few scratches on the exhaust and on my leg. Everything seemed to be in order, until he arrived at his shifter peg, bent beyond saving. He managed to limp it home, and we tried our best to straighten it, but it became clear that the shifter peg would have to be replaced. I felt so bad, and I was sure this would be the end of my relationship with both motorcycles and him. Little did I know he was going to be there for me every mile of this wonderful journey. After I passed the safety course, we went to a couple of motorcycle shops to get a feel of what my first bike should be. I knew from practicing on his bike that I wanted a bike under 500cc. I also really liked the cafe style of riding, the easy transition from my foot onto the pegs to the ground, a coveted safety net. I wanted a lighter bike, one harder to drop. We tried the standard beginner bikes, and I quickly determined that I wasn't interested in the aggro sports bike style. And I absolutely abhorred the cruiser style, despite the beginner bikes in that range being easy to flatfoot. I tried some Triumphs, but wasn't really feeling any deep connection with them. That's when I saw the SvartPylen. It was a little tall for my 5'8" frame, but I loved how light it was. Loved the sexy modern lines of the chassis. I loved the big classic headlights that brightly beamed with their LEDs. With decent clearance and knobby tires, the dirt bike hiding beneath the city commuter stirred my adventurous spirit. It just felt so right as I sat on it. Though I didn't understand its many cool features yet, my boyfriend oohed and awed over the ABS and quick shifting, promoting how it would make riding easier for me. He talked about the good suspension and the traction control. I waved all this off, celebrating instead that the clutch was much lighter than his. We searched online for a used one, for while the SvartPylen had so many cool features for an entry-level motorcycle, it was still slightly out of budget. We managed to find the sweet spot, A bike still under the break-in period, slightly used, and slightly cheaper. We went to the dealer to check it out, and I still felt that same amount of certainty that if I was ever going to buy a motorcycle, this would be the one. I love my SvartPylen. From the first moment I rode it down our street, I knew that I'd picked the perfect bike for me. It's a bike that supports me through my weaknesses, a bike that I can grow with, and I hope that through this channel we can grow together.